Are you noticing a decline in your strength over the years? Sometimes it's subtle, but overall it gets cumulative, and you start realizing, well, I'm not as strong as I used to be to do some of these things. Well, are you looking for an exercise program, a simple exercise program that will help you build that strength and start right where you are, no matter what your age, no matter what your strength is now? In this video, we're going to look at strength training. We're going to look at it from a couple different angles. Let's talk about strength and strength training. So for 30 years, I was a weightlifter, and I built muscular strength by doing curls, overheads, bench presses, and I felt I was very strong in certain ways, but it wasn't until I started doing yoga when I started realizing that I didn't have the connective strength, the strength that binds these groups together. When I lifted weights with the curling and the bench press, I was isolating the muscles. But the body doesn't work that way. It works dynamically. So we're going to look at a few examples of building dynamic strength and what we call static strength. So you can build strength by just adding weights onto a barbell and lifting those weights, but that is not dynamic strength. So that when you're in an activity that you're calling upon the muscle groups to work together to perform the function. For example, if I'm swinging a golf club, I want to make sure all my body parts are connected, not just my arms. In golf, anybody who plays golf knows that a lot of the power comes from the legs and it builds up. And so we want everything connected. So we have to do exercises that put the body in a position where the muscles have to communicate with each other and the supportive muscle groups are built. And we form neural pathways, what they call neural pathways, which we'll learn about in the next video, that the message centers from the brain to the muscles will help facilitate a greater reaction and support of the large muscle groups as we perform the function. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Let's grab a chair, and what we're going to do is going to bring the hands down onto the chair, and we're going to start walking the feet back. Now, at first, as we build the strength, you're not going to be able to walk back very far. We're building the core strength here, and then over time, we keep moving the foot back until we come into what we call a plank pose, which is shoulders over the wrist, and we should feel that strength building in the entire front of the body. And then we'll just walk it forward and come up. For our dynamic strength training example, we're going to go back to something we did earlier in terms of sitting in a chair. So we're going to bring the hands onto the quadriceps here. We're just going to bend the legs down, and then we're going to press up. So we're building the strength while we're moving the body, which builds what we like to refer to as connective strength, where the different muscle groups work together to perform the function. So one more time, coming up. And then over time, we'll add a mobility exercise to that by going deeper into that we call a squat, and then lifting up. So now that you know a little bit about strength and the way we strength train, the next thing you need to know about are neural pathways. Neural pathways are the highway from the brain to the muscle, tells it that it needs to react, or it tells it that it is not needed anymore, and the neural pathway shrinks. So we'll talk about that in the next video. You need to know about neural pathways, because if you don't, then you're going to be missing a big component on how we developed overall strength in the body.